So, the first assignment, well, where are we on what we've done so far? You've made a pretty good amplifier. You've done it on breadboard, you've done it on a solder board surface mount base that we made for you. We've introduced you to a whole raft of components. You can use multi-sim, you know where to find components, both through hole and surface mount, and you know, I think, how to export to multi-board. So what that means is that you're now, and you can solder, I forgot that one as well. Most of you can solder. No, that's not fair, all of you can solder. So we're now in a position where we can make something, but obviously we don't want everyone working on the same thing, because that sort of becomes, people are looking over and, you know, gaining from other people. Not that there's anything wrong learning like that, but we do at the end of the day want you to think for yourself a little bit. So you're going to take all of those skills now and you're going to put those all into one project. Now there's two assignments. You've got assignment one, which is a photopopper, which I'm going to go into in detail in a minute, and you've got assignment two, which is the one of your choosing. And a couple of people have already approached me and said, I'd like to make this, do you think it's a good idea? And we've agreed that that would be fine. So they've even decided on their second one before we even get there. Any questions about what we've done so far? You can see why we've done it now, hopefully. And hopefully you now realise that at the beginning of the fourth week, you've now got quite a skill set. You've got enough so that you can exist in this on your own. We've still got to show you some other stuff about how to export the PCBs, but we'll do that in due course. The expectation of this one is that when you do the assignment for me, and I'll talk about guidelines as far as writing the assignment is concerned, do I expect you to produce the PCB and have it imported from China or wherever else you send it to? No, I do not. But what I do expect to see is I do expect to see a photograph taken from multi-sim which shows me that you can make a PCB. My assumption would be that you would test it either on VeroBoard, and we can revisit VeroBoard or look at that in a bit more depth if you want, or you can test it on the breadboard. The breadboard's fine, but remember the limitations are that you put it in a bag and chuck it over there, Malcolm lugs it into the workshop, it comes out next week and it doesn't work. Well, there's not a great deal we can do about that, and you saw before that it's actually easier to strip the whole thing down than it is to try and debug it. So you might like to, you know, consider your design strategy when you're making your photopopper. Now the popper itself there's some relatively simple circuits out there, and this comes down to what is electronic design all about. Electronic design is about, I want to solve a problem, I go to reference. You're very lucky now having Google and all the rest of it, but even going back a number of years, you would still have access to reference books, so you would take your information from there. So the photopopper circuits, I'm going to give you a few links into those. The ones that are in there seem to work pretty well. We've had them running on numerous occasions before. There aren't that many components, so it's nowhere near as complicated as the circuit that you made for the amplifier. You're probably going to have a component count of, well, include the solar panel and the motors, 7 or 8 components, something like that. I want you to think about several things in the design of it. One of them is compactness, because the whole idea of a solar bot is it's a little small crawly thing, so it's sort of drawing inspiration from insects, so it would be nice to have a small compact design. And also, if you make it too heavy, we're only using pager motors, so you will find that the motors aren't powerful enough to move the robot, which is another consideration. Okay, any questions about what I just said there? So you're all up to speed. I don't know of anyone in the room who hasn't got the skills necessary to go on to the next step. Okay? Happy? If not, forever hold your peace. Okay, so that is video. Might just turn it off and then we'll go around.